You're holding a dollar bill, a euro, a peso, whatever. Feels real, right? Solid, safe. It's the thing you chase, the thing you trade your hours for, the thing that keeps the lights on. Want to hear the truth? It's all fake, a fiction, a promise written on paper, backed by nothing but faith in a system that's been screwing you since day one. Money's not wealth, it's a game. And when the game breaks, when the rules get torched, you're left with nothing but ash. Welcome to hyperinflation, the moment the lie of money burns down entire economies. This is what happens when the cage you're locked in starts to collapse under its own weight. Hyperinflation isn't just prices going up, it's prices exploding, doubling, tripling in weeks, days, sometimes hours. Your savings? Worthless. Your paycheck? A joke. That loaf of bread you bought yesterday for $1? Tomorrow it's 10. Next week 100. You're not buying groceries. You're bartering your life away for scraps. This isn't theory. This is history. This is reality for millions when currencies die. And it's not some distant nightmare. It's closer than you think. So how does it start? Picture a government, any government. Yours, mine, doesn't matter. They're desperate. Wars, corruption, bad bets, or just plain stupidity. They've spent more than they have, way more. So they turn to the oldest trick in the book, print money. Not coins, not gold, just digits on a screen, paper from a press. They flood the system with cash to pay their debts, to keep the machine running. Sounds smart, right? Except it's like pouring gasoline on a campfire. More money chasing the same goods means prices climb. Fast. At first it's sneaky. Milk's a bit pricier, gas stings a little more. Then it snowballs. Businesses can't keep up. They raise prices to cover costs. Workers demand higher wages to afford anything. Governments print even more to keep the plates spinning. It's a death spiral. The money supply doubles, triples, and suddenly, your life savings can't buy a cup of coffee. This is the spark. Too much money, too little trust. And once it catches, there's no putting it out. Look at Weimar Germany, 1923. The government was drowning in war reparations, so they cranked the printing presses. By November, a loaf of bread cost 200 billion marks. Billion. People burned cash for heat because it was cheaper than firewood. Wheelbarrows of money for a single egg. Kids played with stacks of worthless bills like they were toys. This wasn't a glitch. This was the system eating itself alive. But let's get real. Hyperinflation isn't just numbers. It's people. It's you, your family, your neighbors. Imagine waking up knowing your paycheck's already worthless by lunch. You're not saving for a house or a car. You're racing to spend every cent before it evaporates. Stores are empty because suppliers can't price goods fast enough. Barter becomes king. Cigarettes, clothes, anything tangible trades better than cash. Trust dies. You don't trust banks, shops, or the government? Hell, you don't even trust tomorrow. Zimbabwe, 2008. Inflation hit 79.6% billion. Teachers quit to sell trinkets on the street because their salaries couldn't buy a bus ticket. Hospitals shut down, no supplies, no staff. People starved while surrounded by fertile land because no one could afford to farm. The middle class vanished. Pensions, savings, dreams, gone. You're not a citizen anymore. You're a scavenger in your own country. And it's not ancient history. Venezuela, 2018. Inflation peaked at 1.7 million%. A kilo of meat cost more than a month's wages. People lost weight because they couldn't eat. Parents gave up kids because they couldn't feed them. The bolivar, their currency, was confetti. You'd see it on the street, trampled, because picking it up wasn't worth the effort. This is what hyperinflation does. It doesn't just break economies, it breaks people. Here's the kicker. This isn't an accident. Hyperinflation's a symptom of a deeper rot. Governments, banks, the suits at the top, they know the game's rigged. Fiat money, the stuff we use, isn't backed by gold or silver. It's backed by confidence. That's it. A handshake and a prayer. When that confidence cracks, the whole house of cards folds. And who pays? Not the elites, not the ones printing the cash or hiding their wealth in offshore accounts. It's you, the worker, the saver, the sucker who believed the system had your back. Central banks like the Federal Reserve, the ECB, they're not your friends. They're players in a casino where the house always wins. They set interest rates, control money supply, and when they screw up, they print more to cover it. Quantitative easing, stimulus packages, fancy words for dumping fake money into a broken system. And every time they do, they're rolling the dice on inflation. Sometimes it's a slow burn. Sometimes it's a wildfire. But the risk's always there, and you're the one holding the bag when it blows. Take Argentina, a serial offender. They've defaulted 9 times since independence, with inflation spiking over 3,000% in the late 1980s. Even now, in 2025, they're wrestling with triple-digit inflation. Why? Decades of mismanagement, borrowing, and printing. The peso's a punching bag, and the people are the ones taking the hits. Savings wiped out, prices untamed, and a government pointing fingers anywhere but at itself. This is the dirty secret. The system's built to protect itself, not you. You're probably thinking, if it's so bad, why don't they stop? Simple. Power. Printing money's a drug. It's a quick fix for governments to dodge hard choices. Cut spending? Raise taxes? Hell no. That's political suicide. Instead, they hit the print button and kick the can down the road. The bill comes due later, usually when they're out of office. Meanwhile, the economy's hooked, and the crash is inevitable. Then there's debt. Nations borrow like there's no tomorrow, piling up trillions, promising to pay it back with interest. But when the math doesn't add up, they print. The US debt's over $33 trillion in 2025 and counting. Japan's debt to GDP ratio is pushing 250%. These aren't just numbers, they're time bombs. When creditors lose faith, when the world stops buying the lie, the currency's the first casualty. Globalization doesn't help. A country's currency doesn't collapse in a vacuum. Trade imbalances, sanctions, or a stronger dollar can crush weaker economies. Look at Turkey, 2022. The lira tanked 44% in a year because of bad policy and global pressures. Inflation hit 85%. People couldn't afford fuel, food, medicine. The ripple effect? Protests, unrest, and a government doubling down on denial. The world's interconnected, but that just means the dominoes fall faster. So how do you know it's coming? Hyperinflation doesn't just show up uninvited. There are red flags if you're paying attention. First, deficits. When a government's spending way more than it's earning, year after year, trouble's brewing. Second, money supply. If the central bank's pumping out cash like a broken slot machine, prices will follow. Third, trust. When people start ditching the currency, hoarding dollars, gold, or crypto, it's a sign the system's cracking. Check the news. In 2025, inflation's a global buzzword. The US is flirting with 7 to 9% inflation. Europe's not far behind. Developing nations like Lebanon, Sri Lanka, they're already in the danger zone with currencies in free fall. Lebanon's lira lost 90% of its value by 2023, and it's still sliding. These aren't outliers. They're warnings. The system's fragile, and faith in fiat's wearing thin. Let's say it hits. The currency's dead. Prices are a fantasy. What's next? Chaos, sure, but it's not the end. Economies rebuild, but it's ugly. Governments default or devalue, introducing new currencies with a few zeros shaved off. Weimar Germany did it. Zimbabwe did it. Venezuela's still trying. But the scars last. Trust takes decades to rebuild. The middle class, the backbone of any economy, gets hollowed out. Inequality spikes. The rich get richer, the poor get crushed, and the system resets with the same flaws. But here's the twist. Collapse breeds change. Hyperinflation's a wake-up call. It exposes the lie of unchecked power, of blind faith in paper. People adapt. They barter. They innovate. They find ways to survive. In Zimbabwe, people used US dollars and mobile payments to bypass the dying currency. In Venezuela, crypto like Bitcoin became a lifeline for some. The human spirit's tougher than the systems trying to cage it. So where does that leave you? You're not helpless, but you're not safe either. The system's not your friend. It's a machine, and machines break. Hyperinflation's just one way it cracks. You can't stop it, but you can see it coming. Ditch the illusion that your savings are sacred. Paper money's a promise, and promises get broken. Diversify. Gold, crypto, tangible assets. Learn to barter, learn to adapt. Stop worshiping the paycheck and start valuing what's real. But more than that, wake up. The cage isn't locked. The lie of money, of debt, of endless growth, it's all a story they sold you. Hyperinflation's not just a failure of economics, it's a failure of trust in a system that's been fleecing you from the start. You're not your bank account, you're not your credit score, you're the all-singing, all-dancing chaos of the world. So when the fire comes, don't just stand there, smash the cage, walk away, build something better.